ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रीमेधादक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः।
Hari Om.
Namaste to all of you once again. So we are seeing or discussing one of the most challenging topics of Advaita Vedanta. And this particular aspect of Advaita Vedanta, other than Advaita Vedantis, nobody else agrees with that. And that is the Mithyatvam of this Jagat. It's quite natural, because if you tell that this entire world is mithya, it is as good as non-existent, it's only an appearance, nobody will easily believe it, isn't it? Even we will not believe it unless we understand it in its bare detail, rather, complete detail. See, we must always keep one aspect in mind. Whenever we say something is mithya, it is always with reference to Satyam. And we must remember the definition of Satyam for that. In Tattva Bodha, we have seen the definition of Satyam, isn't it? Trikale api yat tishtati tat Satyam. That which is existing in all the three periods of time, past, present, and future. That is Satyam. So this definition of Satyam, we must never forget. We must never ever ignore this definition, because the whole Vedanta is actually based upon this particular definition of Satyam only. And there cannot be any other definition of Satyam, because Sat means existence. So unless there is a continuity of this existence till eternity, starting from beginningless times, going through the entire beyond the time, that which extends, which exists, that only can be accepted as Satyam. But if we say no, anything and everything which we experience is Satyam, then lot of questions will come up. First of all, you experience a dream. Is it Satyam? Answer me. So you will say, yes, yes, yes. As long as I am dreaming, it is Satyam. Yes, correct. You yourself are qualified. As long as you are dreaming. When you wake up, is it Satyam? It is not Satyam. So it is not Trikale api tishtati. When you are dreaming, it was Satyam. Now this Kala has changed. You have become a waker. Now no longer Satyam. So dream you cannot call it Satyam. If you can't call it Satyam, what will you call it? Mithya. It appeared, when it was appearing, it appeared like Satyam only, isn't it? Swakale Satyavad Bhati. During its own time, it was appearing as Satyam. So these points and all, we have to always bear it in mind when we are trying to understand the Mithyatvam of this entire world. And that is the unique feature of Advaita Vedanta. No other philosophy will accept this. They all go by experience, but when they are asked a few questions about experience, then they will fall flat. They won't have any answer to that. It's only Advaita Vedanta gives the complete answer to all such questions. So these points we must keep it in mind. And in order to explain this, or in fact elaborate this, Adi Shankara is using the certain prakriyas, certain methods to explain this. So we saw that this, even though we say this entire prapancha, this world is mithya, but it is appearing as satyam and we take it as satyam, the reason for our taking it as satyam was being analyzed rather. And we saw Prathamika Adhyasa and Dvitiya Adhyasa and all that. Now, in the previous sloka, he actually dealt with the Dvitiya Adhyasa. Now, the same idea he is continuing and trying to give the same message from a different perspective in the seventh sloka, which we will read now. Okay. Tavat satyam jagat bhati shuktika rajatam yatha yavanna jnayate brahma sarvadishthanamadvayam. So, in this sloka, he further explains that this world, this mithya prapancha appears to be real because the reality actually belongs to the Atma or Brahman, and that is being falsely transferred to this world. The Dutiya Adhyasa, Anyonya Adhyasa we saw in the last class, right? And this Anyonya Adhyasa arises, this mutual confusion arises because of what? Aviveka. Aviveka of what? Atma, Anatma, Aviveka. What is Atma, what is Anatma, that Aviveka, that Viveka is not there. So because of that Aviveka, this confusion is arising rather. And that Aviveka basically is what we term as ignorance. And as long as this ignorance continues, we will keep on transferring the Satyatvam of Atma to the world and consider this world to be Satyam. That is what he is saying here. But he is giving a little different flavor to this entire idea. He says that this Atma or Brahman is the Adhishtanam of this world. Adhisthana means that on which something rests. So this entire world, including our body-mind complex, we must remember, it is a part of the world, our body-mind complex, not part of us. So, including this body mind complex, rests in the Adhishtanam, which is Atma or Brahman. And as long as we don't understand this, the world will appear to be real because we are transferring the property of the Adhishtanam, the Satyatvam of the Adhishtanam to the world rather. And of course, we saw on the other side, the Mithyatvam of the world we are transferring to ourselves. And that is why all these properties of this world, which is, anityam, then, vikara, vikaratvam, anityatvam, all these things we are actually transferring to ourselves. And that's why we think that I am changing, I am mortal, I will die one day, I will become old. All these things we have the wrong understanding because of this anyonya adhyasa which takes place, right? So he says tavat satyam jagat bhati yavanna nyayate brahma, till such time, yavat jagat satyam bhati, till such time this world will appear to be real, yavat na jnayate brahma, as long as we do not understand this Brahman as the Adhishtanam. And what type of Brahman? Sarva Adhishtanam Advayam. As long as we don't understand that this Brahma, which is Advayam, is the only Satyam and it is the Adhishtanam of this entire world, this world will always appear to us to be Satyam, real only. That is what he is saying in this shloka, right? For example, we take a pot. What is a pot? Pot is nothing but a nama rupa. It is a name and form given to clay. Clay is the adhishtanam. Pot is only a nama rupa. In the case of a clay and a pot, we can clearly see that this pot is nothing but clay. If we cognitively remove the shape and form, and name of this pot, what will remain is only the clay. This we can easily relate to this example. The problem with the world is we cannot similarly see Brahman. If we are able to see Brahman as the Adhishtanam, like they show in some films and all that, then we won't have a problem in understanding this world to be mithya. The problem comes when we can't see that Brahman. Why we can't see that Brahman? Because you can't see yourself. You are Brahman, isn't it? So you require a mirror to see yourself. And that mirror is what? That mirror is the Upanishads, the Shastra. And the Guru is showing that mirror to you. Please see yourself in this mirror, your real self, not this body mind complex self. That is the process. So, with the examples which is there in the Shastra or even given by our Acharyas, we can understand this aspect that a clay pot is nothing but clay. Pot is only a Nama Rupa of clay. The existence, the Satyatvam really belongs to the clay, not to the pot. Because pot does not exist in all the three periods of time. Pot can be broken, destroyed. Even when the pot is destroyed, clay remains. So before the pot, clay was there. Now pot is there, clay is there. When the pot is destroyed, clay is also continuing to be there. So in the limited example of the clay and pot, we can see that clay is there in the past, in the present and future, whereas pot only is there only in the present. Pot was not there in the past and pot will not be there in the future if the pot is destroyed. So this is a very small, example. With that, we can understand this entire world. It was not there in the past, and it is not going to be there in the future also. It is every second changing. Every kshanam, it is going undergoing a change. So this aspect is what he is highlighting here. And as long as we do not understand that the real Satyam Vastu is only Brahman or Atma, this problem, ignorance of that aspect, because of that, this problem will continue, that you will keep on taking the Jagat as Satyam. But some people say, how can you do that? Because the pot also has got its own identity. It can fetch water. You can keep water in that. And that water, if you keep it, that it will cool that water. All these arguments, people, this is what is the argument Dvaitins and Visishta Advaitins make rather. So they are confusing between two things. Between function and between existence. Just because it is functioning does not mean that it has got reality. Isn't it? Even if you assign a reality to it, that reality is being borrowed from the Adhishtanam only. So when we are talking about the reality, Satyatvam, existence, they will talk about the Arthakriyakari, the utility of that. We are not saying this world is not useful. In fact, it is very useful. We agree this world is useful. And because of its utility only, you are suffering. All your suffering is there because of that. Where you think that the world can give you happiness, so you run behind the things in the world. And it does also. In many circumstances, you are seeking something, you are getting it, and you become very happy. So you think that this world is giving you happiness. As we saw the example in the Tattva Bodha. A dog which is actually chewing a bone. What is happening is that bone is actually creating lot of blisters in its gums, and blood is coming out of that gum. And when the dog tastes that blood, it is thinking that it is because of this bone that I am getting this beautiful, nice, delicious taste. So it goes on further chewing the bone as if the bone is giving. The bone is bone dry, as they say, bone dry. Nothing is there in the bone. Similarly, we are going on chewing with this world, thinking that the world is giving us happiness, without realizing that the happiness that we experience is nothing but a reflection of our own Swarupa, which is Ananda Swarupa. This we don't understand. That is our problem. That is our ignorance. And that's our misconception that the world is giving us happiness. So, the point is that as long as you don't understand that the Satyatvam of the world is there because of the Adhishtanam, Brahman lending the Satyatvam to the world is only Mithya. Similarly, we also have to understand that this Brahman or this Adhishtanam is only one. Advayam. You may see a number of pots, number of articles made of pots, but the Adhishtanam, the reality of all those things is only one clay. Isn't it? So, This Brahman is Kevalam Advaitam. This we have to understand rather. And as long as this Adhishtanam is not known, we will commit the same mistake or continue to commit the same mistake of giving reality to this Brahman, giving reality of Brahman to the Jagat, and the Jagat will appear to be Satyam, and this Satyam Jagat will continue to torment us, disturb us, and for that, Adi Shankara is giving a beautiful example here. The example of Shuktika Rajatam. I think we have seen this example in Tattva Bodha also and also probably in Kathopanishad. Shuktika means a shell which we find in the seashore. Small, small shells, lot of them. They get, rather, the tides bring them to the seashore and leave it there and go away. Now, these shells have got a very beautiful covering. And when the sun, bright sun shines on these shells, from a distance, they look like silver. Some of us must have experienced this. They look like silver. And the person who does not know that this is actually a shell which is appearing as silver will run to it to pick it up and pocket it thinking that it is silver. In fact, he will be doing it so carefully that he may look around that nobody else is seeing. I got a silver piece from this thing, somebody has lost it, so I got it. He will think he has become suddenly very rich by getting a silver piece. He says this is exactly what is happening with the world also. Because of your ignorance, the world looks very, very shining. Satyavad bhati. Bhati means shines, like as if it is real. And we are all running behind it, trying to pocket that world. Dunya mere jeb mein hai, aisa type, no? Trying to pocket the world and trying to feel very, very happy about it. But the reality is that it is this same world which you are taking it real, which you think is giving you happiness, also gives you more misery, more sadness, more sorrow. Everything this world gives you. And that to that world you are attaching Satyatva. So Acharya is trying to point out that you must understand what Brahman is if you want to understand what the Mithyatvam of the world means in the Advaita Vedanta. Right. So this example of Shuktika Rajatam he gives in order to highlight the point that all that shines is not silver. Right. All that appears to be Satyam is not Satyam. That is the limited point Acharya is making here in this. So, this is an example for attraction of the world. For the Dvesha, I mean, this is the Raga part, right? For the Dvesha part, we can supply an example of Raju Sarpa. When we are actually, we don't know the Satyatvam of the rope, and we superimpose a snake on that, that gives us all sorts of fear, bhayam, anxiety, all those things. So that example we can take rather. So raga, dvesha, both examples we can take. And all these things you must remember is all happening because of that adhyasa. The secondary adhyasa. I am transferring my satyatvam to this entire world and I am taking all the properties of this world unto me. And that is why I am understanding myself as I understand myself now as this body mind complex. And I understand the world as Satyam because I have given the Satyatvam to this world. So these two adhyasas, this Anyonya adhyasa is what is causing all this problem. That is the point consistently he is making. He is giving different examples and explaining it from different standpoints. Okay. Now, one more perspective he adds here in the next sloka. We will read that. Upadane kiladhare jaganti parameshware sargastitilayan yanti budbudani varini. So the same adhyasa, Shankaracharya is explaining further from yet another different perspective. This adhishtanam which we talked about in the previous shloka, here he calls it a upadhana karanam. We have seen the concept of upadhana karanam, right? What is that? As long as we do not know that I am the adhishtanam, we are giving this reality of this Brahman to this Jagat, and Jagat will appear to be Satyam, and the Satyam Jagat will disturb us. This we have seen. Now, what he is presenting is the Upadhanam. From this angle, the world will be called what? A Karyam. So, Jagat, this Brahman is the Karanam, and Jagat is the Karyam. We have seen Nimitta Karanam, Upadhana Karanam. Ishvara, Brahman or Ishvara is both the Nimitta Karanam and Upadhana Karanam, and this Jagat is Karyam, a product. This we have seen. And this is how the beginning of Advaita Vedanta starts, like this only, with that, right? So, when we are talking about this Brahman as Adhishtanam, on the other side we will say Adhyasa. So, Adhishtanam, Adhyasa. And when we are talking about Karanam, we cannot use the word Adhyasa, we have to use the word Karyam. All the same thing. I mean, it's all from different perspective and different terminology being used. So, Karanam, Karyam, Adhishtanam, Adhyasa. This is how we have to match the pairs of words, rather, right? So, from the point of view of a Karanam, this world will be called a Karyam. And just as the Adhishtanam lends Satyatvam to the Adhyasa, here in the language of this shloka, it is the Karanam alone which is lending existence to this Karyam. We have seen that all the properties of the Karanam will be existent in the Karyam. The properties of the cause will pervade the effect. And one of the most important property of this Karanam is what? Satyatvam. Karanam is Satyam. So that Satyatvam pervades in this pot also, in this world also, in this Karyam also. And that is why we are actually taking it as Satyam. So this is another way he is trying to explain why we are considering this world to be Satyam and not Mithya. So earlier he said Adhishtanam Adhyasa. Now he is giving the example of Karanam and Karyam. All these are already established, but he is just trying to repeat it again and again so that we understand, right? So Karyasya Swatantra Satyatvam Nasti. There is no independent existence for a Karyam, for a product. Karyasya Satyatvam Karanam Apekshya Vartate. The reality Satyatvam of the karyam is always dependent upon the karanam, isn't it? So this is what we have to understand. This is the vyapti we have to understand, that karana tantram karya satyam. Tantram means, like we say, swatantram, paratantram. Karana tantram, dependence on the karanam. Karya satyam, the product appears to be real rather. Right? So the original reality belongs to the karanam only. This is only karyam only has got apparent reality rather. So the whole world is karyam. So that also we must understand it's got only an apparent reality and not original reality. But we must understand here, whenever we are calling it as a karanam, upadana karanam, we understand Brahman with Maya. That is I Atma along with Mula Vidya. Where we have seen Mula Vidya, Maya all same. I with Mula Vidya is the karanam for this reality being given to this entire world rather. Right. So I have created this universe along with my Mula Vidya. And what has happened is, having created, I have superimposed that universe upon me. Vishwam Darpana Tulyamana Nagarim. Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam, says Dakshinamurti Stotram. Right? That's what I have done. I have actually created this world and I superimposed the entire world upon me. And then, because of my Satyatvam, I am treating this world also as Satya. But then somebody may ask, how can you say that the world is within me? Because I can clearly see the world outside. I am different, the world is different. How can you say the world is within me? So that Sotram clarifies. Pashyannatmani mayaya bahirivot bhutam yatha nidraya. Yatha nidraya, as in sleep. You yourself see yourself as different. One sees as if the world has been created outside. And you are interacting with that world, outside world. You don't understand that you are the creator of that entire dream world, as long as you are in the dream. Only when you wake up, you have this realization, the self-realization that that was a dream world, which was created by me. But as long as you are there, you take it, give it reality. Similarly, he says here also the same thing that is happening. Because if we take the example of the dream world is inside us or outside us. It is both, isn't it? From a waker's standpoint, the dream world is within us. From a dreamer's standpoint, the dream world is outside us. Because we are one of the participants in the dream world. We are there very much. With a body, mind complex, a dream body we have got. And we visit so many places in the dream. We meet so many people. And sometimes when you just wake up from a dream, for some period of time, you will even remember what you were dreaming about. That's a sort of a twilight, Sandhya period. You are still not fully out of the dream, but you are not fully woken up also. At that particular point in time, if you understand that this was all a dream, in fact, you do understand it was all a dream. The moment you open your eyes, you understand it was a dream. But that dream is still continuing in your mind. If it is a beautiful dream, don't want to get up also. You want to continue. You will close your eyes again and continue dreaming. Isn't it? But the point is, we have to understand which standpoint we are talking about. From a standpoint of a waker, the entire dream world is within us. From a standpoint of a dreamer, the entire dream world is with outside us. Because both waker and dreamer, we are the one. There is no separate waker, separate dreamer in the two worlds, right? We are the waker, we are the dreamer. So we have to understand. Similarly, when from a super waker's point of view, this entire world which you are now claiming to be outside you is inside you, he says. That is what it is. And because why? You are lending existence to the world. You are lending the Satyatvam to this world. So that is what we have to understand with the example of the dream world, right? So Swakale Swapna Prapancha Bahyam Vartate, as we have seen that. I mean, in its own time, in the dream world, the Swapna Prapancha is appearing to be outside, rather, right? And when we understand that I am the Chaitanyam, I am the Adhishtanam of this world, I am the Karanam, the Upadarna Karanam, Nimitta Karanam of this entire universe, we will also understand that like this Swapna Shariram, this Shariram also is only Mithya. Like the Swapna Prapancha was within us, this Prapancha also is within us only as a Veka. So this Jagat Shariram, Jagat Prapancha are also within me, the Super Veka. This we will understand once we get the Jnana. So Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Sarvagatam Chaitanyam, this understanding has to go. And if we don't look from the angle of the original I, the real I, and look from the standpoint of this, this our shariram, this limited, this world will look outside us only, rather. So therefore he says, Upadane Akiladhare Parameshware Mayi. You have to supply this Mayi, right? In me. In me what? In me, the Upadana Karanam, who am the Akila Adharam, the entire Adhishtanam. Adharam means Adhishtanam. Vishwadhare, Gagana Sadrishe, Chaitanya Rupe, Mayi, Aham Shuddha Chaitanya Swarupaha, Parameshware. All these are adjectives for that, right? In me, this whole world is existing. Now we will say, but I don't look like one, but this whole world is existing in me. Such a big world. I'm 6 feet tall. How can the world exist in me? The look will not be like that, isn't it? If we look at our body mind complex, we will not be Parameshwara. But if we understand the Chaitanyam behind this, the Sarvavyapi Chaitanyam, the all pervading Chaitanyam, the Ishwara, who is the Adhishtanam of this Jagati, that's why he said Jaganti. Jaganti represents all the 14 worlds, 7 up and 7 down. Upadane Kiladare Jaganti. Parameshware Mayi. So all these 14, we are not only talking about this Bhuloka, we are talking about all 14 Loka. All 14 Lokas exist in me only. That we will understand once we understand Aham Parameshwara, Aham Paramatma. I am the Adhishtanam. And I am the Jagat Karanam. Jaganti means plural. All 14 worlds it includes. Right? All these are Karya Prapancha. And what he says? Sarga Sthiti Layam Yanti. So this Karya Prapancha gains the Srishti Sthiti and Layam, all because of me, who is the Karana Chaitanya. Karana Chaitanya Rupa. Right? And he gives a beautiful example. He says, from my original Chaitanya Rupa standpoint, this entire creation and destruction of these lokas are budbudani iva. Budbudani means bubbles, which we see when it is raining and all. When there is water, then the drops fall and bubbles form. Right? So Shankaracharya here is comparing the Atma to a big body of water or an ocean, or a huge reservoir of water you can take. And every loka is like a bubble, because in front of the infinite, which I am, even these galaxies and all these things will are a small bubble only. In front of infinity, everything is a bubble, isn't it? So, like that, he says, you can say that this galaxy is 50,000 light years away, 70,000 light years away, this is dark matter, what a black hole and all that. But all those things are equivalent to a bubble only. In terms of time also, if you want to make a comparison, because what I am beyond time, I am beyond space. Whatever exists within time and space, for me, it's only a bubble. They will appear, pluck, go away, regain appear, be there for some time, Srishti, appearance, Sthiti, for a few seconds in our time zone, it will be there, then pluck, go away. Another one will appear, go away. So, this process of these bubbles appearing and going away, it's all happening in me. And all these 14 lokas are like that only. Even when there is a big pralayam, Maha Pralayam, this entire world becomes unmanifest. Where are they resting? This entire prapancha becomes unmanifest. They rest in me only. Layam yanti. They don't go somewhere else. They can't go somewhere else. I am the adhishtanam. They have to come back to me only. So I am the Srishti, Sthiti and Laya Karanam also. I am the Upadana Karanam. I am the Nimitta Karanam. I am the Adhishtanam. And I am the only Satyam. Only Satyam. Advayam. Kevalam. All these words we must remember. These are all words meant for Nididhyasanam. When you sit for Nididhyasanam, you have to bring all these into your mind and meditate upon. Vedantic meditation you have to do for the whole idea to sink in and in and in and in. Otherwise, like Swamiji says, Paramatanda says, Chappal on, Vedanta gone. That's all. It'll just be some good time pass entertainment. That's all. Really serious mumukshu if you are, you want freedom from all these troubles of this world, then you have to work for it. Simple. So that is what it is saying, that this entire world is like a bubble. All this entire Srishti Prapancha. So Budbudaniva Varini Iva Budbudani Iva Varini Jaganti Mai Sarga Sthiti Layan Yanti. In me, all this Srishti, this Sthiti and Laya, it's all happening in me only. So just as the bubbles are false, there are big bubbles, small bubbles, tiny bubbles, and all different sizes and shapes. But they are all false in the sense that the reality of the bubble is only the water. It's only a nama rupa called bubble. Appears for some time, goes away. Similarly, this entire mithya prapancha appears for some time and goes away. Everything exists in me only. Everything is born in me, born by, I mean, everything is created by me, sustained by me, and also everything resolves in me. Remember that. Mayeva sakalam jatam, mayi sarvam pratishtitam, mayi sarvam, mayi sarvam layam yanti, tad advayam brahma aham asmi. That we must, Kaivalya Upanishad, we must keep on remembering that particular word. And the same idea Adi Shankara repeats in the next sloka also. Rather. Mm. He just takes it a little bit more one level down in the sense of further splitting it. Right. We will read the sloka, ninth sloka. सच्चिदात्मन्यनुस्यूते नित्ये विष्णु प्रकल्पिताः व्यक्तयो विविधाः सर्वा हाटके कटकाधिवत्. So, in the previous sloka, the adhyasa or of this achetana prapancha, the what you call jada prapancha was pointed out, and using the word jaganti, it was mentioned, the various lokas were mentioned rather. The entire prapancha was referred to rather. In this sloka, Adi Shankara is talking about Vyakti Adhyasa. Vyakti means various living beings. Because earlier he has talked the totality, the prapancha. Now he comes down to the Vyakti level, the individual level rather, right? That is how, Adi Shankara threadbare analysis. He will not leave anything to chance. Even if you don't have a doubt, he will assume you have that doubt and he will clarify it. That is the beauty of his works. And Bhashyam also, when we read, he will assume all the doubts that can occur in our mind, in all the minds. Because all doubts may not occur to everybody. Some doubts may occur to some people, some doubts may occur to somebody else. And many times what happens in the classes is that people will be very reluctant to raise doubts. They will think that, other people, what they will think of me if I ask such questions. Well, we always have got this problem with us. We think that all others are intelligent than us. They understand these things better than what we understand. So if I raise a question, they will think me stupid because this fellow is not understood or what. This is one problem many of us will face in the classroom. That is why whenever Acharya is saying, are there any questions? Very rarely anybody will ask a question. But that's a formality every Acharya does. To give an opportunity, fair opportunity to the students, because one student may have a very relevant question, which may be there in the mind of everybody else, but they are reluctant to ask. So if one student asks and the Acharya answers that question, it will be for the benefit of everybody. Sometimes say, this same question I also had in my mind, but you didn't ask. That is what Acharya will say. You should have stood up and asked. I would have clarified to you. So like that, there may be a question. Okay, Adi Shankara talks about world, Buddhani, and also, Jaganti, all 14 lokas and all. What I have got to do with those 14 lokas? I am talking about myself. my individual self. Let us discuss that. What is the situation so far as that is concerned? This may be a question in a student's mind, so that he is addressing in this sloka, right? So he says that he talks about the Vyakti Adhyasa, individual Adhyasa. The various living beings, this is the Stula Shuras, Karana Shariras, which we have. And here Vyakti stands not just for individual, for all the jivas rather, right? Not only human beings, Pashu, Pakshi, Mriga, Deva, Yaksha, Kinnara, Gandharva, all that are included in this. All categories, Vyakti. And all the Sharirams, both the Stulam and Sukshma Shariram, the Adhyasa is pointed out in this sloka, right? Now, this Stula, Sukshma Shariram are Chetanam or Achetanam. We have seen in Tattva Bodha, they are all Achetanam only. The Chetanatvam is being given by the Atma. The Chaitanya Pratibimba, the Chidabhasa, the reflection of the original consciousness, because they are being what you can call focused on this, they acquire Chetanatvam. On their own, they are Jadam only, they are Achetanam only, right? And in the only difference is when it is Achetana, the Chidabhasa is not there. The reflected consciousness is not there, right? The Chit Pratibimba is not there. Whereas in the Chetana Prapanja, the Chit Pratibimba will be there. But even though the Chit Pratibimba is there, they are both Achetas, the Stula and Sukshma Shariram are Achetanam only. The difference is one has got Chidabhasa, other doesn't have Chidabhasa. Right? So this we have to understand. So therefore, Vyakteha Adhyastha hai, it is said. And in the previous sloka, he called it Upadana Akila Adhare. Adhara, Parameshwara. He said, right? Here he is using different words. He is using Sachidatmani Nitye Vishnu. That's the word he is using. But all referring to the same Atma alone, the same Brahman alone, right? In this context, Atma we can take it, right? But mind you, we are not talking about the Jivatma. Jivatma is also a Mithya. Because Jivatma is what? Jivatma is name we give it to the this indweller in our body mind complex, who is there as a reflected consciousness, not the original consciousness. That is what we call Jivatma. That we must understand this difference very carefully. Okay. So here in this shloka, we are not talking about Jivatma, we are talking about Paramatma, the original Atma, the Bimba Chaitanya. That is what we are talking about, right? So Sachidatmani, that means Paramatmani. Sat, as we know, is the nature of eternal existence. Sat. And Chit means what? Consciousness, awareness, eternal awareness, Ajanya Chaitanya, Bimba Chaitanya, original consciousness. And this is in the form of what? Existence, awareness, and knowledge, jnana. That is the nature of Brahman. And he says, Anusyute. Anusyute means what? Inherent. In and through everything. Anusyute. So he says, this Brahman or Atma is Anusyute, which is in and through all. And why it is Anusyutam? Because it is Adhisthana. Adhishtanatvat anusyute. Because it is the adhishtanam, it is the karanam, it will inhere, it will pervade all the karyam, including the at the vyashti level. Not only at the samashti level, but also at the vyashti level, it will inhere, right? So the adhishtanam will always be inherent in and through the adhyasa. Just as the rope will be there wherever the snake is. In fact, in the Rajju Sarpa example, we must understand one thing. Since this snake is being superimposed upon the rope due to our ignorance, the size of the snake will be exactly the size of the rope. The thickness of the snake will be exactly the thickness of the rope. So it is not only that we are superimposing another rupa and nama on the rope, we are actually also superimposing the size and the thickness of the rope onto the snake. Understand? This is what is the Anyonya Adhyasa which is taking place in the rope snake example. It is not that the rope is 6 feet and we are seeing a snake of 2 feet. No. We will see a snake which is 6 feet. That point we must never forget. That is what is this Adhyasa and Adhishtanam principle is all there. And this is, like in Vedanta, you have to understand all these very, very subtle points. So the qualities, the properties of the Adhishtanam fully is superimposed on the Adhyasa. That we must not lose sight of. So similarly here he is saying, Anisyute, all the properties of this Atma or Brahman, it's not only that it is, pervades the entire prapancha, each individual also it is pervading. At this vyashti level also it pervades. Because the very existence of even individual is being lent by this Atma or Paramatma only, this Adhishtanam only, right? So, because of this only, we call Antaryami. Antaryami means that actually completely pervades, which inheres Antaryami, right? Then he says further Nitye. So this Adhishtanam is Nityam. The Adhyasa will come and go. This snake imagination or the superimposition on the rope is only temporary. As long as there is a dim light, temporary. When the light comes, snake goes away. So adhyasa is temporary, whereas the rope will always be there. Rope is the adhishtanam for the snake. Similarly, this Atma Brahman will be nitye, permanently there, eternally there. All these vyashti, samashti, adhyasas which are there, they will all come and go. Right? So another way put it is, karyam will come and go, karanam will remain permanently. Actually, in Tarka Shastra, they say this in a very peculiar way. They say, prak pradvamsa abhava rahite or prak pradvamsa abhava apratiyogini. It means that which does not have prior non-existence and that which does not have posterior non-existence. In Tarka Shastra, this is how they actually define Satyam. That which does not have prior non-existence and that which does not have posterior non-existence. That is Tarka Shastra. They can simply say that which is existing prior, that which is existing in future also. Isn't it? A very simple language. That's why we use simple language. We don't use the Tarka Shastra language, and because that is how Tarka is. In Tarka, unless they confuse you, there won't be any Tarka. It is said in the legal practice, it's an advice given to the lawyers. If you can't convince a judge, confuse him. And in that confusion, he may be able to give you a favorable judgment in your favor. So this is just a joke said in the circles of this thing. Similarly, when you come to Tarka Shastra and all, when you read Tarka Shastra, you require a lot more inputs to understand what is being said. Okay. So this is what it is said. In a straightforward manner, what they say is this eternity, this nityatvam, is described as that which existed in the past, that which exists now, and that which will exist in future also. It never dies. That is the nitya which he is talking about for this Atma. We will see more in the next class. Let's say the prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all. If there is any question, you can ask. Namaskaram. No questions, we can close. Some people are I think later Kuberan and Bhuma are not there. And Gopalakrishna Mama is also missing today. Diwali kondarrala enna theriyala. Okay. That's okay. That's fine.
Okay, Mama. Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali to all of you once again.
Diwali.
Next Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you. Okay.